All right. Hello, everyone. Very welcome to the session number 2, which is SPb02, Planning, Mobility, Built Environment, and Real Estate Development. So we have 3 presentations today in this session. We had moderator Dr. Yeim. She's not here, unfortunately. So she'll be replaced by Dr. Moin to moderate the session. So I'll hand over the moderation job to Dr. Moin.
Thank you. Good afternoon from Turkey. I am MD Moinullah Hassan, an assistant professor of the Department of Real Estate Development and Management in Ankara University. And welcome to the 4th International Conference on Canadian, Chinese, and African Sustainable Urbanization, ICCCASU. This conference will help not only to learn from Canadian or Chinese perspective, but from other Asian countries also. The session 2, this session is about planning, mobility, built environment, and real estate development. Will focus on how the current outbreak is slowing down all socio-economic development process. Is there need to mandate to the industry to transition to a future development and activities? Is paradigm shift will continue even after COVID-19? And also, as well as we'll listen, though he's not here, about the bullet train in Bangladesh, necessities and ambitious, and about mobility. So there are 3 interesting topics here. One is the probable effects of COVID-19 on urban planning, built environment, and real estate, and its implications in the post-COVID period and assessment in Turkey perspective. I will present the paper, and Professor Dr. Harun Tanrvermi and Professor Dr. Yeim Tanrvermi is also in this paper, in this work. And second paper is about beyond COVID-19, planning the mobility and cities following city in 15 minutes paradigm. This paper will be presented by Tiziana Campese and Nahiduzzaman. Hopefully we'll complete within time, as we are already only 2 presenters here, and we have 1 hour in hand, around 1 hour in hand. Hopefully within 20 or 25 minutes, we could complete our presentations, and within 45 minutes, we could complete all of our presentations, and then remaining 15 to 20 minutes, we'll get time for question and answer sessions. So firstly, I can start from myself. So I am sharing my presentation. Yeah. Is it visible? Yeah.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, you can see. So, in our topic is about the probable effects of COVID-19 on urban planning, built environment, and real estate sector, and their implications in the post-COVID-19 period and assessment in Turkey perspective. We 3 from Department of Real Estate Development and Management from Ankara University, Turkey. Unlike many other countries in the world, COVID-19 has radically changed in Turkish cities and the country as a whole. The first COVID-19 cases confirmed in 11th March in 2020, and as of 28th July in 2021, the total number of confirmed cases in the country is 5.5 million, of which 50,450 people have died. In this study, we'll focus on how ongoing measures and challenges under COVID-19 might yield positive impacts on urban planning, real estate, and built environment, and the future policies. Therefore, this study provides a perspective on the relationships in 3 key fields. One is urban planning, another is built environment, another is real estate, and the ongoing COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 impacts and measures and necessary actions for future in Turkey. we prepared a questionnaire and we sent it to 255 professionals, those who are related in real estate, land, urban planning, built environment in this field. Finally, we received 94 online questionnaires, and this questionnaires from the public sector employees, those who are related to construction and real estate, private sector employees, those who are related to land registry and cadastre, and public sector employees, those who are in the field of urban planning, private sector employees, those who are related in real estate development firms, and private sector employees, those who are related in real estate finance, investment institutes, and employees in the real estate appraisal firms, real estate marketing, sales and staff or consultants, employees in real estate investment funds, risk management and insurance companies, and finally the facility and real estate management business employees. Therefore, so 94 online questionnaire we received, and from different employee from different sectors, public, private, and even those who are consultants and others. So it was not an easy task to compile all the surveys and to make it analyze. But we could try. This 94 questionnaire is really a good number, especially from professionals. A desk-based secondary literature has been adapted regarding ongoing COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 in this study. Now, I can see that the outlook of real estate market in Turkey. If you have a look, the total number of parcels, land parcels is 58 million plus, and total number of houses 26 million plus, and total number of owners is 51 million plus. So number of foreigners acquiring real estate is about 379,000 plus. So around we can see that 1.2 to 1.4 million annual housing sales is happening every year in Turkey, and household ownership rate is 56%, and we find the horizontal mobility, especially housing as a not as a it is a not as a commodity or production, but it is a investment tool in Turkey. Therefore, we can see a big number here, especially in Turkey. You can see the total 83 million population here. Average household size is 3.35, and share of single households is 16.90. So this housing price index, if you have a look, the housing price index in the past 5, 6, 7 years, and even in the construction cost index, you can see that it is increasing by years. And it is interesting here that from 2020, when after COVID-19 started, the price index and construction cost is increased a lot. It is positively increasing, and if we have a look at the FDI, foreign direct investment in real estate sector in Turkey, it is also the increasing from the past years, especially from 2017, it is growing rapidly. So if you have the look, the COVID-19 impact of real estate sector, we find the big loss in the hospitality industry, tourism industries in the tourism industry. And in 2020, there was a 75.14% decrease in the number of tourists compared to the previous year in 2019. And therefore, around $22.5 billion US loss happened in 2020. So if you see the table here, it's clearly visible that in 2018, 2019, and 2020, there is a very big gap between 2018 or 19 between 2020, because of many government policy decisions and measures. Therefore, tourists did not come in Turkey, and there are some issues, those who are related to the government policy issues and so on. That's why, though, it should be reduced the cases. Therefore, all airports and others, they are closed due to COVID-19 and some others, even though tourists did not come at that time. Especially during the time in during the time in December or January. That time also the COVID-19 situation going bad in Turkey, and now the situation was is good. Now the situation is going bad day by day as the COVID-19 cases are increasing. But this time is normal. Hopefully the tourist though the tourist is coming, but it's difficult to predict the future right now. And especially the investment decreased in the retail sectors in Turkey. In 2019, there were 458 shopping malls in Turkey, and 9 new shopping malls were expected to be open in 2020, and new shopping malls investment in the post 2023 will be very weak because there is no new shopping malls are here. Those who are operating, they are also old, and those who are now many shopping malls are opened. Those who are just finished a few months before, they are now operating. Therefore, this is a investment decreasing in this retail sector, shopping mall. Increase in vacancy rate and decrease in rental offices, also one of the main issue, especially because of loss of very big loss of investment in Turkey's economy. Another thing is that industry investment and logistics tend to grow rapidly because logistics it is now growing rapidly around 2,261 times than in the past years, especially in 2019 and 20. And another is that the shrinkage of production of automobile and white and brown goods, petrochemical and related sectors, but growth in innovative sectors, even health and food industry, it is really growing, and which is really clearly visible in the market. So if you have the situation about the new projects of development and construction license, about it is decreased 50% comparing to 2019, and the increasing cost of built environment production naturally cost increased sales price. So it will increase in real estate prices, and rent money will continue rapidly in the post-pandemic period. So what can change in the real estate and construction sectors? This from different literatures, we compiled these points. First on this change in investment section, investment analysis and project development and valuation, there is a big change we can see. Restructuring of project finance models, including PPP, like public-private partnership models, international arbitration, etc. And the change in construction technology also, the increasing in smart buildings, green buildings, and the expectation of less contact technologies in the buildings and offices and others, shrinking stores, especially increasing storage areas for logistics and others, rapidly growing e-commerce in Turkey, and administrative spaces of shrinking public and private institutions, decreasing office demand, increasing home office or flexible working. The result is shrinking companies, utilizing technology, and decreasing employment. So digitalization in business and home life, the change in the logic of buying and selling, consulting, daily life, negotiation, and entertainment. Especially another thing is that if you look at the urban plans in Turkey, there are many country plan, regional plans, they have spatial strategy plan also. This is very important because it's a strategic plan, especially we can prepare the action plan and for the future actions and activities also. So they have also a special strategy plan and environmental order plans, master plans, and implementation plans. So in the the built environment, like buildings or neighborhoods, we have also centralized and decentralized like other countries. Safer public transport system also they are offering in the accommodation for the people, even including the homeless people, waste collection, awareness raising, supplies of clean water, park, and others. There are many issues. We know there is a built environment, though all are included here. But in this study, we will try to integrate these three. What is happening in the real world and what the professionals are saying what their recommendations, and then we conclude the final, we'll conclude the final conclusion. Survey results and analysis in this study, among the professionals that we talked to, the 94 respondents, among the respondents, 27 belongs to the age group of 26 to 35, 26% belongs to 46-55, 8% belongs to 36-45, and 32% belongs to the 55 and 65, which is a big number, especially those who are aged and those who knows about the issues in urban planning, built environment, others. And only 1% is 66 and over. Among the respondents, 56% of the participants are male and 34 are female, and 91% of the respondents have bachelor's degree or higher. Mainly those who have, they have urban planner or real estate expert or civil engineer and others. So if you have a look, the sectoral distribution of participants, and maximum participants are from those who are development and urban planning field, especially those who are working in urbanization and environment ministry and the related and this type of organizations, those who are urbanization or real estate issues. And another is the participants we found mainly from construction sector, those who are especially civil engineers and others. And we asked the question, what will be the change in planning activities during COVID, what is happening in during COVID-19? And maximum of them, they replied that is 38% that the demand for detached housing or rural areas, especially villa or it is increasing, which is happening really in Turkey. And some planning activities also the slowdown because some plan implementation, monitoring and implementation, it is slowed down, and the existing rent expectation future, especially in 21%, because the new construction, new activities, those who are especially, it is really they are thinking about the rent, or they're thinking about the market-based instrument. You can say that the gain a lot, gain money from the construction activities and sites. And 63% of the participants think that the COVID-19 may cause a change in the Turkish spatial planning system, especially what I'm telling here, the urban planning system, because these plans, they are prepared the past, but there will be a big shift after the COVID-19 because it is still ongoing. And we also asked the question when it will be, what will happen in the future. We also asked some questions. And in the real estate buyers and sellers, especially, they seem that there is no significant change, especially those who are buyers and sellers, and it is like a medium. And this is the very important table here, especially urban services. The sufficiency of urban services in the settlements and real estates during COVID-19, what is happening now, especially they informed that the maximum urban services, which is insufficient, especially if you have a look at energy efficiency, existence of open and green spaces, increase in the construction of green buildings, existence in the contactless technology, all garage facilities, increasing demand of boutique or apartment defenses, all sectors, if you have looked at the mainly insufficient. Even it is interesting here that I found that the garage facilities for transport system, especially bicycles, motorcycles, and scooters, which is very less, and which is very insufficient because in Turkey, there is no, yes, they have some less the bicycle lanes or motorcycle or scooter lanes. Only few you will find, but now the government is trying to make a much more transportation system, especially bicycle lanes or motorcycle lanes and others. So which is very insufficient, especially at the present situation, and increasing demand for single story houses or villas, which is increasing, and it is still true here that the 48.57% this is sufficient. You will find here as the Turkey that I told before that this type of activity they are thinking as an investment tool. That's why you will find that there are many villas which is still available for purchasing, and it is also the demand is increased this time. Even if all of the important urban services, real estate, built environment features, you will find the maximum, there is still a big gap at the present now. So we'll find what they will tell the professionals for the future. Now we'll change the major planning issues after COVID-19, and after COVID-19, they say that there should be a decentralized approach in urban settlements, especially there are many centralized urban planning we can see in Turkey, especially in Ankara, Istanbul, big cities. So they think that if there is, we can promote the decentralized activity or decentralized urban planning or settlements, then it will be better. Even though they are thinking about 60%, they are thinking about the infrastructure, they're thinking about the corridor-based planning. Those who are both transport and landscape and forestry, those who are related with the corridors, because it will be it will give both nature-based solution as well as future risk. So there are many issues here, especially the respondents, they think that especially the need to increase open and green spaces, and even they are thinking about the vertical garden. They are thinking about the urban agriculture. They are thinking about the investment of recreation facilities. So many facilities they found that this type of facilities should be increased. And if I have to check, the 67% of respondents think that it's possible to plan and implement new real estate projects with the concept of resilience and sustainability measures in the urban transformation development areas. Especially, you can find that the government, they have planned that the urban transformation, especially the big transformation, it is a earthquake-prone country. That's why government is doing urban transportation as a massive rate, especially. So they think that it's possible to new real estate projects and plan, and 70% think that it is not possible due to government. It needs a huge finance, and the remaining system did not express their opinion. Especially the main reason you can find that because the state of health insurance and expenses are increasing. So that's why the government is cutting the budget from various sectors. That's why it is will be little bit difficult to for the future. Especially government should have to in the health sector. The government is spending a lot in the health sector. In order to rebuild urban spaces and structures in the post-COVID-19, the following institutions should take responsibility. According to the respondents, they said that about the local authority should play a major role. And another thing that the Ministry of Environment and Urbanization should play the major role. And TOKI, those are Housing Development Authority, and the bank, those who are provincial bank, those who are related to infrastructure, also should play a role in this field. And demand for respondents for their workplaces. So we asked the questions in their workplaces and the built environments, what is their demand? Especially they want the use of more contactless technologies in their workplaces. And some of the demand for green building or infrastructure they are asking, and the neighborhood and their building need to be developed in a collective way, because sometimes it is not well planned, well organized. That's why they respond this way. Especially, and another issue is that they focused that there should be cleaner the building and neighbor and other surroundings should be clean. And they also it should be clean. It is their demand also. Integrating resilience. Another question we asked them, what is if you integrate the resilience of such measures in the ongoing and future real estate built environment projects, what do you think? What will priority you will give And you can see that there are some areas, especially, for example, utilizing more sunlight and circulation of the fresh air in the buildings, and maximum of them it is moderate. Some, for example, establishment of adequate parking facilities for transportation systems for bike and motorcycle. Their maximum, they say that it is very insufficient and the lowest low. The ranked is increasing demand for boutique or apartment residences, and they told that it is already very low. It's 30%, and frequent waste collection and awareness. It is it's little bit better, but the situation should be improved. Another is the increasing restrictions on park and public spaces. Here also the situation more or less same, that it is the moderate situation here, and increasing demand for safer public transport system, bicycle and motorcycle. It is also the some demands are very less. They measured, and some are a little bit better, especially especially the providing accommodation to the homelessness. It is also the important considerations for in Turkey. When the coronavirus started outbreak, then they provided accommodation to the homelessness person, especially in the hotels and others. So they think that government should think about the issues, and increasing demand for one-story houses. Also, the measure that it seems still low, and increasing the contactless technologies in common areas. Also, the percentage you can say that those who are tell that it's the 26%, which is low. They said that it should be increased, and focusing on outdoor and landscape works in official residential offices and workplaces, which is also the same condition. So you can see that it is possible. So we asked the question: is it possible to plan or implement new real estate projects with resilience and settlement measures in urban transportation development areas? The results for this also that they decreased maximum of them. Because as the price is increasing, therefore the accessibility or affordability to the poor it will be difficult. Difficult, and also that they say that the demand will be decreased due to high cost, because the price is increasing day by day, even though the exchange rate, it also depends on exchange rate. Another thing is that we asked their suggestions regarding the measures that can be taken in the construction real estate sectors in the post-COVID-19, and they informed that the keeping up with new trends, especially there is no significant response here. We can find that some informed that the investors' demand should be increased. Some say that the keeping up with new trends, some said that reducing cost should be reduced. So this type of situation is happening. And how long it will take to recover or return to the new normal or new normal after what we call the new normal, that because it's ongoing, and after COVID-19 for the real estate and construction sectors in Turkey. And 25% respondents believe that it will take 2 years, especially from 2023. 23 to 32% respondents believe that it will be back to normal after 3 years. And 23% respondents believe that it will be back after 5 years, and 20% respondents believe that it will be back after more than 5 years. So it is an interesting question, especially that the 32% respondents believe that it will be back after, in normal after 3 years. That means 2024. And their recommendations from the survey participants, they say that they prioritize public health, disaster resilience, environmental protection in the future planning studies, and increasing quality and quantity of open spaces, even if it is in the planned areas, as livelihoods and lifestyles are changing. Therefore, existing plans and the real estate sector should be reconsidered, and give importance on landscape and aesthetics in the sectors, and invest in sustainability measures, increase awareness to the society regarding real estate and urbanization, prevent the increased development and construction in rural areas, and also to prevent urban sprawl, because urban sprawl is, we can find in which is really clearly visible everywhere in Turkey. Protect fertile agricultural lands, forests, pastures, and other natural resources, and strengthen financial resources, including government should delineate some priority projects, especially in real estate, land, and urban planning issues, and also recognize urban sustainability indicators and measurement, and ensuring that they are tools of measurement. And in this study, we recommended and concluded that there is need a clear mandate for the industry to transition to a future where future spatial planning, urban planning, built environment, and real estate are integrated with a sustainable, resilient, and affordable manner. Because it is highly important, it seems that all sectors, including sector professionals, are likely to continue based on emerging data-driven digital technologies, contactless technologies. They're asking this type of paradigm shifts will continue even after outbreak. The current outbreak has slowed down all economic development process, but they need the strategic plan, because Turkey, they have a strategic plan, but it should be revised. Also, they should consider in the real estate firms, they should consider building business continuity plan to overcome the future uncertainties and challenges. All environmental protection areas should be protected, because people are thinking about the nature-based solution. Therefore, the environmental protection areas should be protected. Urban agriculture areas should be protected, and transportation system should be reviewed, because and pedestrian and access roads should be increased. Bicycle-friendly road should be created, because it's very less. Also, the increased and corridor-based plan can be infected. Increase awareness of the society and on real estate and urbanization, on inclusion in the community planning for future, present, and the future. Thank you. So now we can continue the second presenter. I think after the second presenter, we can take questions and answers. So this second presentation, the topic is about beyond COVID-19, planning the mobility and cities following city in 15 minutes paradigm. So Tiziana Campisi will present the paper.
Could you please stop sharing your screen so I can share the video? Thank you.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Tiziana Campisi. I'm a lecturer and researcher at the University of Ankara in Italy. My research interest is focused on sustainable mobility, and today I'm presenting the first step of our research that I carried out with my colleagues from UBC, Professor Naiduzzaman. People need greater accessibility to space and at the same time greater awareness related to the concept of sustainability. Lack of access to urban opportunities is often cause of poverty and inequality. Providing the most vulnerable road user, such as elderly or children, with a better urban access and connecting them to the opportunities and service is one way to overcome urban inequality. Our research is based on a number of considerations related both to the spread of Agenda 2030 objectives and to the critical issues arising from the recent pandemic, which have deeply changed people's lifestyle and movements. In particular, we had focused on the development of mobility and urban areas, considering the 50-minute city model. It is necessary to consider that some communities are more vulnerable than others, and therefore it is necessary to understand that criticalities and strategies can be adopted in urban areas and not as described on this slide. Post-pandemic cities and suburban areas will need to promote short travel or by bicycle. They will need an improvement of the connection between space and the spread of strategies aimed at sustainable mobility. Local authorities and mobility experts, as well as transport operators, have a key role in the decrease travel demands, avoiding the need to travel, reducing the length of journey, and creating the condition to make walking, cycling, and public transport attractive. Therefore, three elements are needed to achieve widespread transport demand reduction related to the drastic reduction of private mobility and encouragement of green forms of mobility, promoting sustainable lifestyle and green form of mobility, and also promote appropriate national policies and planning frameworks to implement action in all cities. The implementation of the 50-city model is an opportunity to spread sustainable mobility and improve lifestyle in the post-pandemic phase, and at the same time it stimulates activities in neighborhoods through the dissemination of services and technologies such as Wi-Fi network or real-time monitoring sensors. Travel restrictions have also encouraged the digitalization of certain activities, considering, for example, the boom in online video conferencing tool or the acceleration of the dematerialization of payments. On the other hand, the need to find everything we need while moving as little as possible has been the driving force behind an idea that the city of 50 minutes and also the concept of proximity. Diametrically opposed to the zoning process that shaped the Italian suburban in the 20th century, separating and distancing area with different use, such as residential or commercial, the 50-minute cities model is proposed as a space with each inhabitant can find all the urban service and amenities he or she needs, moving on foot or by bicycle for no more than a quarter of an hour. The proximity city is an area that allows greater inclusiveness, more opportunities for certain population groups, such as young people or elderly or also people with disabilities, and it promotes the small-scale economy and at the same time is in some way a safer city. The city place where we live have a great impact on our well-being. The positive results of everyday living is given by the quality of the internal space and the outdoor spaces in which we move. Looking at the slide, it is possible to define four main characteristics of the proximity city, as well as three pillars from the diffusion of this urban planning model. Most European cities, even before the zoning boom, are characterized by a distribution network that is rarely strictly divided by use. From a methodological point of view, there is a need to move from more top-down approach, typical of traditional urban planning, to new bottom-up approach based on the specificities of each place and its inhabitants with their characteristics and needs. This has exemplified the development of the proximity city model, required only a few actions to renew some service and activities, limiting what is supernumerary and integrating what is scarce or missing. Some European examples are Paris, Barcelona, and several Italian cities are adopting the 50-minute city model. In the rest of the world, some local administrations have also encouraged the development of this urban model, as shown in this table. The post-pandemic period is characterized by three phases, useful for the reopening of main existing activity and the promotion of the economic, health, and social aspects, while respecting all the rules, such as social distancing or the implementation of other forms of restriction on board of public transport. In addition to urban planning that will encourage the development of 50-minute cities instead of metropolitan ones, it is necessary to review the transport system to make it safer. The pyramid scheme shown in this table, in this slide, show the necessary growth of certain modal choice to increase sustainability and resilience. Mobility and urban planning will and must be in perfect harmony with technological developments such as the introduction of electric or autonomous vehicles and the development of smart cities. It is also necessary to properly plan open and public space and access to them due to increased digitalization, proximity, greater inclusion and diversity, and finally, urban density. Among the possible short, medium, and long-term solutions to be adopted, our research divides them in two macro areas, one related to the transport office and the other to infrastructures and service, and the second macro area relating to the social, technological, and environmental aspects. In particular, we have summarized in the table what would be convenient to increase or decrease. For example, a reduction in the use of private vehicles could reduce road congestion and at the same time guarantee more urban space that are no longer used and that can be adapted, for example through parklets, to areas where people can socialize or develop outdoor commercial activities such as bars and restaurants. Therefore, from the definition of a set of needs that emerged in the post-pandemic phase, it is necessary to find sustainable solutions that don't neglect safety and proximity to service for different population groups, while promoting decarbonization and sustainability strategies. A first analysis of the literature showed that different models of cities has been adopted over the year, and recently the concepts of proximity cities and smart cities have become very popular. In the pandemic phase, many people have readjusted their life to smaller space in their home, and this provides an opportunity to redesign everyday space to make them multifunctional and more livable, for example by furnishing very small balconies or expanding the space in the house into gardens. The diffusion of the concept of the city of proximity can stimulate such action, and therefore this work provides a preliminary starting point for further detailed research aimed at improving the size of a urban context and mobility. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your presentation. So the city in 15 minutes paradigm is really interesting. So, I have a question. What do you think about those who are densely populated cities, especially like Dhaka in Bangladesh and other some countries? They have also the capital cities are densely populated. Is it possible to implement that cities also?
Yes, I think that is the better solution. The first solution is to encourage the neighborhood area. to encourage technological aspects and the environmental aspects and the development of these parts. And after that, we can redesign and reproject the city concepts, I think. I think that the first step is linked to the weak demand area, like peripheric, where is simplest, I think. I don't know about the country that you mentioned,
Yeah.
but some example can start and after spread, considering biggest area. And these concepts can also combine with the other concepts in order to encourage different environmental solution and to solve some problem about actual mobility and logistics.
Right. Great. Any questions from the participants? No, if not, then Dr. Moin, I have a question for Dr. Tiziana. Thank you for the nice presentation, even though I'm part of the paper as co-author, but just a few things thought to bring up here for discussion. You know, when it's a pandemic situation, so pandemic is coming repeatedly on a certain interval, right? So let's say first Spanish flu happened back in almost 100 years ago, 1918, when we had this huge spread pandemic, and then that caused a huge kind of damage in terms of death tolls and so on in the world, right? And then 2019, we have another pandemic in COVID-19 form. We had swine flu, we had, you know, SARS, MERS, all this happening in a repeated time. So, and we expect that with the climate change and all those environmental impacts that we see around, we may expect more pandemic coming perhaps in the short interval, every 10 years, 20 years time, right? My question is now that as we are trying to understand the short distance cities, such as 15-minute city, could be one panacea, one kind of solution for mobility, environmental kind of positivity in terms of sinking carbon emissions and all those health issues involved. I was wondering, you know, if we have more frequent infectious diseases like COVID-19 coming in every 10 years around, so how you think would be the feasibility of such compact structure of the cities?
I think that the first thing that need to solve is the mitigation and the continuous monitoring action of the future. Here in Italy or in Sicily at this moment, we have an increase of positive, and we need that we will have another fourth period that is very dangerous for us. And I think that local government, national, and such different aspects and different point of view is necessary to encourage mitigation strategies that can combine the development of technologies, the readjust, for example, the use of Internet of Things or the trajectories by our smartphone in order to localize better the positive. For example, here we have an app in Italy that use these concepts, and also we can encourage the local authorities and policymakers to understand and to adopt different urban scheme and mobility scheme. The big problem involve the big area and also the small area in the same time. And the good solution is to have a different concepts and different point of view for each part of the world, establish such as best practice that can be adopted or readjust for each areas, but is need to move from now, because for the next year, the next life need to have this type of action in order to solve a part of this problem or not encourage more problems on this type.
Absolutely. Just a follow-up question on that, because as we are having COVID-19 now, so we have a psychological fear that we should not be in touch with close proximity with the people, right? we tend to have fear in crowd. We tend to have fear in the gatherings where we see many people are gathering together, right? So that sense of fear might be still continuing for some time, even though the pandemic is over, right? So we may see that such psychological fear might be continuing at least 3-4 years down the line, even though pandemic would be over. My question, or this is more like a reflection, I would say, from your side, that how do you think that psychological fear could be an impediment, could be a challenge for conceptualizing those kind of complexity structure?
Yeah, I think that is another multi-factor and multi-point of view problems. And we worked with my research group on it, related especially on public transport. Here, after lockdown period, we have a good decrease, a big decrease of public transport use. And we need to readapt this system because we saw an increase in private vehicle spreads. And in order to encourage them decarbonization, we need to work in accordance with local governments, national governments, to a best practice in order to encourage possible solution. For example, the demand responsive transport for a weak demand area that is not at this moment peripheric, but also part of metropolitan area without frequency of buses, for example, and to spread something linked to shared mobility and encourage also the health actions in the same times.
Mhm. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Dr. Moin, if you allow me, I have also a question for you on your presentation. Thank you for the nice presentation. It's quite intriguing, and also this is empirical study that you have carried through to get a sense that where you may have the shift coming in the next future time. My question to you, because understand that from the survey respondents that they are opining that there could be a paradigm shift, especially on the part of transit sector, also in the housing. So could you please tell us a little more that what kind of shift the respondents are expecting when it comes to transit and housing type?
Especially the respondents, they are thinking about some green and clean investment, especially that you can say. Because at present, the Turkey, they have their existing plans and activities and others. Yes, they are following the past plans, what they are, but the respondents, they are thinking about the future plans should be integrated, like clean, green, and contactless technologies and others. This all should be integrated in the plans, especially in the strategic plan. And because it should be the shift from the past practices or conventional practices to the new issues and innovative actions and technologies that we are looking for in the whole world. Especially this technology should be transferred. Otherwise, because in my presentation there is, you can see that there is 63% respondent. They thought that there should be both nature-based or green or clean or new modern digital technology-based shift. There should be, and it should be included in the existing plans.
Absolutely, absolutely true. Next follow-up, not question, more like thought provoke. Let's say we have two contemporary challenges going in parallel, right? One is climate challenge, climate change, and we have the new pandemic came up into the picture. And if you look at the demand and nature of consequences that they're posing onto our lives, they are quite contrary, right? For example, let's say climate change is definitely suggesting us to be more green, more compact, which has less carbon emission to the atmosphere. This is a more caring part. On the contrary, COVID-19 is suggesting us to be more staying apart, so we can be exclusive and be safe in that situation. So my kind of takeaway from here is that how do you see back in Turkey, in Ankara, for example, that how these two contrasting phenomena, or in other words, from your standpoint of view, what do you think, or how do you think as a potential solution onto tackling these two contrasting kind of challenges happening in the same place?
It is possible. It is possible to solve this solution, especially from the different side. One is climate change or issues, another is COVID-19. I think it's possible because it depends on how government respond. There's the main important issues, how they take the decisions time to time. So especially in Turkey, as far as I know, they're always the government Ministry of Environment and Urbanization and Turkey, the Housing Development Authority and others. They're also looking about these situations in the very closely, especially last few 2-3 months before the minister came in our department, and he told that they planned the climate action plan for future. They also already have, but they will revise and within the concept of the future aspirations and demands of the local community people. So this is very interesting, very important, because government is focusing the both two ways and at the same time. So I think that they could integrate very quickly because government is positive especially in climate and other climate issues and others. I think it is possible to integrate the demands of the local people and which will be reflect in the policy level, I think.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And my takeaway here is that, sometimes it's quite not easy equation the way we think, for example, right? Because and also this is human behavior that we tend to think a mono way, like one way kind of thought process, right? So let's say for the last decades, we have been really engulfed with climate change driven policies, actions, and so on. So all resources have been gone into that direction, right? Now we have a new situation of pandemic. So I think some way that has to be integrated down the line, because as I was talking to Dr. Tiziana, that possibly we may see some more of such kind of new pandemics on the way in a short interval, maybe every 5 years, 10 years, you never know. Because the way things are changing worldwide, weather-wise, this is very likely that we may experience some different diseases. So I'll give you one example here. Back in Kelowna, British Columbia, here where I live in, this summer has been really challenging for us because at the beginning of spring, we had floods across BC, and then once some weeks passed by, then we had this what do you call heat wave, and an extreme heat wave. That continued for like 3 weeks. And that almost killed more than 800 people across the BC and also in Canada, right? And then after that heat wave, we had these wildfires, by the way. I can see through my window, I can still see smoke in the air. Sometimes, I can see this ashes flying in the air, right? So we have consecutive challenges happening in one season. Imagine this is just one territory, right? If you look at the other territories across the world, you can possibly understand those multiple challenges being happening, right? So with that challenges, new diseases is very likely to occur, likely to happen, and then it may come up in a short interval. I think, this is a good time. That's why to understand, to make plan for short-term driven strategic way with a long-term vision for sure, not other way around. First we plan long-term and then we go for the short-term, which we do generally, but for our case, I think it's a situation where we should look at short-term plan with a long-term perspective, perhaps. That will be one strategy I would say would be quite critical for us to look at, because the way we are experiencing challenges, sometimes they are so contrasting, they are so exclusive in certain way. It's difficult to have one policy targeting everything, right? So that's it. Just to give a sense, that's the kind of time we're living at, where we have to be much more understanding, much more broadened ideas of consequences before we can come to a decision, right?
Any questions from participants?
Right. If not, just one question for Dr. Tiziana. I mean, definitely Italy has been a center of culture, right? A capital of culture that people go enjoy and then really celebrate that. I was wondering, when we are looking into 15-minute city, which is bit of different culture than what we see in Italy, right? Kind of different. because the way we have seen the special structure of houses and neighborhood settings in Italy, for example, back in Ankara or Rome or somewhere, right? So we have seen different settings. And with the new structure of compact structure, I was wondering how the culture might be a both positive or negative catalyst in that.
Yeah, I think that is like a scheme that local authorities can apply it considering the different problem and the different size of each cities, of each parts of urban areas, considering also the law and the rules linked to the actual urban planning, and encourage also a review on it, considering both the architectural aspects that we have for history and for the future, and at the same time the new action and the new aspects of a urban areas, where is need to defend or mitigate the problem, to encourage the green areas, the social areas with the social distance for the future pandemic or similar, and at the same time to re-encourage with the campaigns or action for children and for different parts of society, to encourage a new think of life, in order to respect each action more than at this moment, and to understand better the actual situation, because we have all people have a different approach, I think, after the pandemic, to each life. And the better solution is to combine behavioral, cultural, traditional with the urban new concepts and the old concepts of these areas. It's not simplest, but step by step, with more revolution of law and behavioral aspects of citizen, is possible to fix them.
Yeah, definitely. Just to add to that, Dr. Tiziana, because when I was teaching back in Stockholm, Sweden, I had a student from Spain. I forgot his name. So he first time told me actually there's something called una hora de siesta, like 1 hour rest after every meal that we do, right? So that means, you know, the culture is there after a heavy meal, you tend to take a rest for like 1-2 hours, right? That's why, you know, if you go to Italy, Spain, for example, you don't see much activities during the afternoon hours, right? They're kind of sleeping time, and then they wake up at afternoon time, 4-5 p.m. and then the evening becomes very live, right? And also vibrant. So this is very interesting, because I was wondering, that's why is that that kind of cultural settings is really important, really enriched the country, the society, right? Because this is the way they have been carrying the legacy of cultural heritage. So that's why, you know, the part of culture is really important, that how they have been accounted before that structural type has been proposed by the local governments, right? Because you cannot just like brush up all those culture in a matter of few plans. That will be very much unethical, very much, you know, rude in so many ways. But accounting this culture into the design process would be the most smartest way, perhaps somebody could design the plan, right?
Yes, also an increase of the democratic participation, democratic planning can encourage also this bottom-up approach, in order to spread the real problems of citizens, and in order to encourage the local government to understand it like the basis of the most and biggest problems.
Absolutely. Great. Any questions from Dr. Moin?
Si me ayuda con la traducción, por favor. ¿Cómo hacerle, por ejemplo, cómo implementar esos viajes, como dicen a nivel local, cuando ya tenemos estas grandes ciudades como la Ciudad de México, y donde se siguen construyendo grandes proyectos de transporte? O sea, ¿cómo podemos regresar? Un ejemplo, ahora que se cayó el metro, y las personas que viven en las zonas más pobres de la ciudad y tienen que cruzar, hacer viajes de 3 horas para llegar a sus trabajos. cómo podríamos regresar.
I think that I can reply.
Ya. No sé si
Okay, I understand because it's similar to our Italian language. And I think that the most encouraging the test pilots with the small parts of the big cities or the peripheral action, but is need to encourage also on the same time the spread of technologies and democratic participation. Because if we don't have these two aspects and also the encouraging of a health solution, I think that is not possible to apply each schemes. If you can involve citizens on this action, on this approach, it's not possible in the same time to solve the problem, to apply it 5D minus cities in the all areas, but step by step, encouraging at the same time the renewable action for the second, third, and other steps. You can look on the first point, like test pilots, the benefit of this approach. You can remodule in order to encourage the actual and traditional action of life that is not similar in the other parts of the world. And after that, we can establish with the other step another application of the similar schemes. This is also possible if we encourage also people to use walking or bicyclists and don't use private vehicle, and give in the neighborhood more action, more shop, more offices, and possibilities for live the local areas. In this way, people need to do everywhere and anything in the small areas. I think that also is necessary to encourage the socialization of the people, considering the limiting distance, and also to encourage the socialization areas in order to reuse the space. Less parks, more parklets, less dangerous areas, requalified with other action for children, for elderly, and the other.
Gracias.
Right. Just a follow-up comment on that, if I understand, because this is my personal fear is that when something mega events happen, like pandemic or mega earthquake or flood or any kind of catastrophe happens, we tend to have an approach of quick fixing, right? We tend to go and quickly fixing that problem to make sure we come back to normalcy, right? That's our approach. And historically, we have seen in planning that such quick fixing approach has been happening, and also it has a lot more negative impacts down the line, right? So in other words, rush planning could be one of the approaches we have seen in the history, even contemporary time, where that may have not brought up solutions the way you want to, right? So I was wondering, I think, that the approach we are taking now in order to look at the solutions for the post-pandemic time is quite critical. And to my knowledge, I think we haven't seen the whole part of it yet, the whole part of the pandemic and its consequences yet, because we're not over with the part of pandemic yet, right? Because we are having, just to give you a sense, we're having third wave already, and also Delta variants, and also we have the new Lambda variants upcoming from South America, like Peru areas and so on. So we don't know yet the impacts that what they may bring up into the cities, right? And I think definitely the discussion is important now to start to see where we may go toward given the situation of impact. But I think when it comes to solution, we need to wait a bit more time to understand what is the trajectory of impacts those variants could bring into the city, and then what would be the solutions, not solutions per se, kind of strategic steps we could take forward to make sure our cities are resilient, right? So I have seen in so many ways that the researchers, those planners, the researchers, so on, they are trying to come up with a solution in order to be able to tackle the situation in post-COVID time. So I feel that this is kind of rushing, kind of a rush in certain way because we haven't seen the whole picture yet, right? So rushing could have certain consequences on the solution part. Just to give you a sense on that, if you look at the US, which is our down south neighbor here, so in the US, definitely once they have ensured that people have double vaccinated, they try to relax those masking requirements and also intermingling was allowed and so on. Nothing happened in the recent time during the last 3 weeks time. The Delta variant actually actively working in the entire US, and they had a huge spike in the cases. Even same for British Columbia and Canada here as well. 3 weeks ago, there was the ease of restrictions because we thought that the double vaccination and all those precautions could make us safe, and there is no such continuity or chance of any contagion in the process. And we have seen in the last 3 weeks, there's a huge spike of cases, even our city here in Kelowna as well. So I think that rushing decisions, which is partly political driven motive, could have caused an impact onto the solution part, right? So I think being a researcher is important for us. That's why that we tend to be patient a bit to make sure we understand the bits and pieces of those impacts before we can come to a solution, right?
I think we have no more enough time. So if there is no any other question, then we can conclude here. So thank you all. Thank you for your presentation. It's really interesting. It was really interesting presentations, and especially 15-minute city and also the Turkey situation, especially COVID-19 and post-COVID-19, and what will be happening in the future, especially the future plan, activities, and so on. And it is really important that there should be prepared a strategic plan, that what will happen after 4 or 5 years or after 10 years. So every country, I think every country should prepare the strategic plan in, for example, in urban plan or in built environment or in real estate, they should have to prepare this type of long-term plan. Otherwise, it will be, for example, it will be really difficult to overcome the future uncertainties or future challenges. And strategic plan is just a guide where the present situation now, what will happen, what should we do for the future. So I think this topic should be, for the future research area can be the future research area, because what will happen after 2030, especially the sustainable development goals, what will be the outcome of that goals and what will the future. So I think that the United Nations will take necessary actions or activities. I think for future, especially for strategic planning issues and others, and also the Tiziana Campisi and Dr. Nahiduzaman, the mobility and the planning cities, how to follow the new models and plans like cities, city in 15 minutes. This type of implementing many that I found. This is a new topic for me, and this is I found that there are some cities they are implementing or they are in the action. So this type of new action, new models, new planning, I think it will be effective for the future. Those who are related with the hot, Dr. Nahid said that those are climate change, COVID, and others. Those are related to both regular forces and unregular forces together. At the same time, if the government take both actions at the same time, then it will be, I think, it will be win-win approach from the local people as well as for the top level officials and others, from the local to top.
Sure.
So thank you.
Sure.
So it will conclude. You say we can complete the session.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Moin. Just to, because being a panel chair, I'd like to conclude here as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your inputs. I think one of the important takeaways we need to be with us from this session today is that resiliency, right? Because our cities has to be resilient enough to be able to tackle those both foreseen, unforeseen challenges, right? Now we are having the situation of pandemic. We know the climate change has been happening, but we also need to know what other challenges may come up in the line, right? Could be in the form of epidemics, in the form of other kind of catastrophes, or could be in the form of other kind of damages that may happen, right? So I think the best capacity would be to enhance the capacity of our cities to be able to make sure we come back to normalcy in as soon as possible time, which is resiliency, right? Yeah. So resiliency would be one of the takeaways of today's presentation that you have seen in 2 sessions, which are quite intriguing by the fact that we have a lot more think tanks to be accounted to be able to make sure we have a better plans, better strategies and thoughts in place, right? And that's why the conference of such like ICCCASU has been a wonderful platform, which gives us a chance to think, to discuss, and even to debate around the issues to make us a better thinker down the line, right? That being said, I'd like to thank you so very much for all the panelists and participants who have been with us today. Thank you for your inputs. Thank you for your insights that made the discussion for today really fruitful and engaging. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.